entertained by William Morris talent agent Johnny Hyde. Many famous photos of Marilyn were taken around the Racquet Club swimming pool. In the 1950s, she was a regular visitor to Palm Springs with her second husband, baseball great Joe DiMaggio. So the presence of Forever Marilyn is a true homecoming. And now, I'd like to bring up Mayor to hear about what the return of Forever Marilyn will mean to the city of Palm Springs.
Thank you all for being here. It's amazing to see such a huge and enthusiastic crowd tonight to welcome Forever Marilyn back to downtown Palm Springs. As mayor for the city of Palm Springs and on behalf of the entire Palm Springs City Council, we would like to thank PS Resorts for their incredible work to bring Forever Marilyn back to Palm Springs where she belongs. Forever Marilyn found so much love when she was here in 2012, her 2-year stay. She was a wild success. She was a social media sensation. She drove tens of thousands of visits and views and millions of impressions for the city of Palm Springs, and she was greatly missed. So we're happy to have her back to our community. As a fan of the legendary Marilyn Monroe and her iconic films, her iconic legacy and celebrity, I'm absolutely thrilled that our residents and visitors will once again get an opportunity to enjoy this joyful, whimsical sculpture, which is a perfect fit for the brand of Palm Springs and the city where she was discovered. Today, we honor her legacy with this sculpture and every day that she's here in the city of Palm Springs. So with that in mind, we're thrilled Forever Marilyn is once again gracing our new downtown development, right next to our new downtown park, right next to the art museum, right next to our beautiful and wonderful downtown businesses. We have an amazing community, and it's just so great to see everyone coming together here today to celebrate this moment as we recover from COVID. We've had a very difficult year together, and now we have this magnificent attraction here in the heart of Palm Springs, and we look forward to celebrating and sharing in this moment together as a community and for years to come. Thank you. Next, we have Mayor Pro Tem Lisa Middleton speaking.
Good evening, Palm Springs. It is so good to have the Marilyn statue back where she belongs, back in Palm Springs. When she was here the last time, day or night, every time my wife and I drove by here, walked up, what we saw were people standing around and smiling and having a good time. And that is what is going to happen again. People are going to smile and enjoy themselves and have a good time. And I want to know how many of you are happy to be around people who are smiling. If there is anything that we need today, it is more smiles on the faces of the people that we encounter. And I want to thank all of the folks involved in the tourism industry, PS Resorts, for helping bring back this statue, this opportunity to smile. And with that, I get to introduce my good friend and colleague, Jeff Kors.
Our great Chamber of Commerce and Main Street and all our tourism organizations, including PS Resorts, I am so thrilled that we are bringing Forever Marilyn back where she belongs in Palm Springs. This is her home. And we knew coming out of the recession, the difference she made, how many businesses she saved. And having done a little travel in Southern California and seeing places with 50% of the businesses closed, ours are not like that because our council passed an eviction moratorium for businesses. But a lot of them have 15 months back rent to pay, and we gotta make sure that our residents and our tourists come to our great new downtown, spend money, and not stay home all summer so our businesses survive. So I am so thankful for all the business organizations and tourism organizations, and especially PS Resorts and OpTop Data for caring so much about our unique local businesses that support Marilyn and really need her to get out of what the last 15 months has done. So thank you for coming out. Great night. With the sun behind the mountain. It's beautiful, and when we're done, go spend some money in our stores and restaurants. And please welcome my friend, Councilmember Dennis Woods.
Hello, Palm Springs. Yeah. I'm thrilled to be here today to welcome you as we celebrate the return of Forever Marilyn once again in our beautiful downtown. This area where the sculpture is located is in the heart of downtown, has always meant to be a walkable hub. With an array of fantastic installations like David Charney's Babies over here in the pit, a plethora of ultra-cool public art and murals surrounding us right now, the gorgeous, and I mean gorgeous, Steel Isabella sculpture that's next to the Rowan Hotel. It's absolutely wonderful to see how vibrant this area has become. And with the grand opening of our downtown park here this fall, and the amphitheater, we expect the entire area of the surrounding Museum Way to be really the center of everything that is Palm Springs. A big thank you goes to PS Resort for recognizing that this sculpture should be the centerpiece in the heart of the art hub. It is an important part of the resurgence of Palm Springs. Thank you.
So can we give a round of applause to all of the council members who are just... Forever Marilyn was inspired by the famous photograph taken by Bruno Bernard, known as Bernard of Hollywood in his heyday as one of the preeminent photographers of Hollywood's golden era. His history with Marilyn Monroe started when she was still Norma Jean, and he became a dear friend to her over the years as he photographed her. Today, we have with us a very special guest, Joshua John Miller, Bernard's grandson, who is now chairman of the Bernard of Hollywood brand.
Thank you.
The icon we know as Marilyn Monroe was, in many ways, born right here in the city of Palm Springs. My grandfather, Bruno Bernard, known as Bernard of Hollywood, met Marilyn in Los Angeles one day as he was leaving a dentist appointment. They struck up a conversation and became fast friends. Both of them were strangers in a strange land, Hollywood in the 1940s. My grandfather was a refugee from Berlin during the Nazi occupation, and Marilyn, Norma Jean Daughtery, was an orphan who bounced around foster homes for her whole childhood. They immediately forged a friendship for the rest of their lives. Whereas my grandfather was already on the rise as one of the top glamour photographers in the business with photo studios on Sunset Boulevard and even here on Palm Canyon. Marilyn was still struggling for a break, having only scored bit parts thanks to a contract she had at Fox that was running out and not being renewed. Marilyn wondered to my grandfather one afternoon whether she should just throw in the towel. But my grandfather convinced her and said, "Let's go to Palm Springs." There was a place called the Palm Springs Racket Club. If you don't know what it was sort of the Studio 54 of the 1940s and 50s. Maybe with the Soho House, but not as cool as Studio 54. Anyway, he was the only photographer allowed on the grounds of the Racket Club at that time, and he took pictures of every golden age star that would stay there. And he also kept all their secrets, so they trusted him to take their pictures. When he brought Marilyn into the Palm Springs Racket Club, she felt as if this moment was going to change the rest of her life. Well, it was New Year's Eve, 1948, and he brought her to a New Year's Eve bash, and he introduced her to a gentleman by the name of Johnny Hyde, who happened to be the president of the William Morris Agency. Well, he fell in love with Marilyn, Marilyn fell in love with him, and he basically constructed with Marilyn, because what people have to understand, Marilyn wasn't built by the studio. She built the studio. She created her image. She created the dream that other people, white, black, green, orange, any gender, that you could be anything and anyone you want to be if you go after it. That's what Marilyn represented, and that's what my mother, Susan Bernard, who carried my grandfather's legacy, always taught me. And as a person, a part of the LGBT community, I always felt inspired by Marilyn's moxie and determination to make a stand in the world as an artist, as a woman. Marilyn was a woman who, when Ella Fitzgerald was performing at a nightclub, no one would come see her in the early days. But Marilyn said, if I go to the nightclub, every night will the press come and cover this amazing African-American singer. Yes! She helped put Ella on the map. Over the years, as Marilyn rocketed to fame, she and my grandfather stayed good friends. Their relationship leading to the iconic picture that inspired the statue before us today. The 7-Year Itch, a movie Marilyn was shooting, was doing reshoots on the Fox lot. But unfortunately, for 2 reasons, it had to be reshot. Her husband, Joe DiMaggio, was not happy that she was letting her skirt fly in the wind. But Marilyn, being Marilyn, does what Marilyn wanted to do. So she did 50 takes. Later, they reconstructed the whole set for the 7-Year Itch on the 20th Century Fox lot, and my grandfather was invited to join her and be the only photographer allowed on the set. This time, the effect worked. When the breeze made Marilyn's skirt go flying, she laughed, and my grandfather snapped the picture that would cement her not only as a star, but as a legend. That night, she would tell my grandfather to never forget she had become Marilyn, partly because of his support and his belief in her and Palm Springs. Her words to my grandfather were, "It all started with you." So, in many ways, Marilyn started here in Palm Springs. So it's fitting that she's back again. I'm grateful to have grown up under the shadow, literally, of Marilyn Monroe my whole life. It has taught me as a queer person to fight for my rights as an artist and as a human being, and that really, Marilyn always used to say, they would say, well, you want to be an actress? Well, everybody wants to be an actress in Hollywood. But I'm dreaming the hardest. That was Marilyn. She fought the hardest. I want to thank the people involved for allowing me to be part of this dedication. I hope this statue continues to be something very special for the city. I know my mother and I know my grandfather would be very proud that this was standing tall in what my grandfather called his home, Palm Springs. And thank you for Stuart Johnson for creating a wonderful homage to this photograph. Happy Father's Day, Grandpa, and to all the dads.
Thank you so much, Joshua, for providing all of the rich history that not only surrounds Marilyn, but also your family. Next, I'd like to invite up Scott White, the President and CEO of the Greater Palm Springs Convention and Visitors Bureau, an agency that is vital to our tourism industry. Scott and his team will be internationally promoting the arrival of Forever Marilyn as yet another reason to come and visit